This headline has me rolling. So, all of the Android fanboys who wrote in and told me that it's all Apple's fault, and that if only Apple supported RCS, the whole messaging situation would be solved, Google wouldn't need half a dozen different chat platforms, and Apple would no longer be the bully of the messaging community. Well, AT&T has rolled out RCS messaging for certain select Android fans, and it has been a complete dumpster fire. As you might not realize, but of course makes total sense with the RCS system, the carrier has complete control. And so AT&T thought it would be great to only enable RCS messaging on select devices like the new Galaxy devices. And that just created a huge problem when RCS systems, phones, were attempting to text phones that were not on this approved whitelist, and AT&T boondoggled the entire transition. And so far, AT&T's response has been basically squat. They have completely crapped it up, and RCS messaging has been a clown show. And depending on how you bought your Galaxy S22, you may or may not even get RCS. And what's remarkable is the feature is actually being enabled or disabled in Google's own chat app by the mother frickin' carrier. You understand what I'm saying? The carrier is reaching into the chat app and flipping settings depending on their preferences on your phone. RCS has turned out to be a total dumpster fire. One more example of why Google screwed this thing up from the very beginning when they started with Android, and why iMessage is now the blue bubble of all fame, because they created a system that took the carriers out, that focused on the experience for consumers, and then they slowly iterated on that one singular messaging platform for a decade. What Google has done at every single turn is cede control to these monopolistic carriers who manage to crap it up every single time. And here we are now with RCS in the United States, and it's made the situation even worse than text messages to iMessage situation that we had before. And this was supposedly the big savior that all the Android fanboys, all the Android techies were going to throw at our face constantly. It is such a great example of how our community screws this kind of stuff up all the time. We get so focused on the technicals, on the specs, and we completely cannot connect with the actual market realities that drive adoption. And so we argue from like an almost like moralistic standpoint, like these are the moral arguments why this is the superior route that should be done. Meanwhile, the market like gives zero Fs about those arguments and does what it's going to do. And it seems like so many in our community are completely blind to this. And so they make investments and bets and choose technology stacks based on this view that they have, this skewed technical view of the market. And it's embarrassing. And when you look at our inbox and you look at our mentions and how many people told us how dumb we are because RCS was going to solve all of this. And here we are when it finally gets rolled out by a U.S. carrier that's at scale, and they just screw the whole thing up.
Yeah, right. Anytime the carriers are involved in anything on your phone, it's probably bad.
Oh,
yeah, I know. I feel I could. Your anger level is high.
It is because this, I've been doing podcasts for 15 years, and this is this general problem that I just outlined about. This is so rampant in the Linux community specifically, where they get so focused on the specs, the techs, right, the licenses, and they completely lose all sense of what drives the market. And so that's how you see like people throwing millions at stupid, crazy Linux mobile phones that are never going to get more than 3,000 users, right? That's why you see so many Linux users like jumping on board these projects that are never going to go anywhere because the market's already picked a horse and it's like already done 3 laps around the race and we're just getting saddled. Like we just do that kind of stuff all the time. And so we are constantly spending effort and resources in places that we're just going to spin our wheels instead of trying to figure out where the market's actually going and creating a product that fulfills that. And it just drives me crazy because it dogs the open source community to the point where they fail to execute over and over again. And you can see that pervasive thinking taking place here in the way people are analyzing this messaging situation.
Well, it's